Hey y'all, welcome in. Before we get into anything else, I do want to break down exactly what we're doing today. We're going to be diving into what we're going to be doing the Sponsor My Business Masterclass. This is something that people have been asking me for, so I'm giving it to y'all. Okay, we've had a few people. We've had about 5 people sign up so far, and I usually take about 30 people per workshop or masterclass. But if you've ever felt like you struggle with asking for money, you struggle with asking for partnerships, you struggle with asking for support, then this masterclass is going to shift everything for you. Okay, so I want you guys to really tune in. For those of you who actually never met me before, I'm a business coach and a marketing strategist. They coined me the marketing medulla, right? Because marketing really is you get the money, right? Like you can have the greatest business, but if you're not marketing it, then people just don't know that you're that great. So what I specify for my clients is to make sure that you clarify your business ideas so that people know exactly like what you're doing, how you're doing it, how they can become a part of it. And also I support you in making sure that you're trained in your business development, right? A lot of times people come to me and they're like, oh, can you just do it for me? I am not that person. I'm not the do it for you everything. I only have select, clients and select things that I do for people who have already been through my programs, right? So if they've been a client for me for about a year, 2 years, I've worked with them. Sometimes I'll pick up the slack, right? Like I'll get their sponsorships for them. But for the most part, I don't do it for everyone. So I want to teach you guys how to get your own sponsorships. I teach you guys how to actually get your own partnerships. And in this workshop, and masterclass rather, we're going to be deep diving and I'm going to tell you what we're going to be covering in the masterclass. All right. So if you're really like confused about how to get really tuned into asking for the money and you don't really know what's going on because you're not getting sponsorships or partnerships, then you definitely want to join this masterclass. Okay. So number one, why sponsors actually say yes. So that's key. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. A lot of people actually think that it's about who you know, and it's not about who you know, right? When it comes to sponsorships. Now, I've had this where it comes down to, networking businesses, getting yourself out there. Yes. Getting yourself in rooms that you're not already in. Yes. It comes down to who you know. But with sponsors, everyone that you know is not going to be an ideal sponsor. So you have to look at why they say yes. So why do sponsors actually say yes? One reason is because you actually solve a problem that they have. Okay. So that's one big area. If you're looking for sponsors and you're like, man, I really need to, and this is not just for a nonprofit. I have a nonprofit and a for-profit, and I get sponsorships for both. Funding is one of the main avenues that you want to continuously keep building on, right? Like business is not always about making a sale every day. Sometimes it's about leveraging your assets, right? Welcome into the live stream. Hey, Kaylani William. Hey. So we're just kind of going over what we're covering in the masterclass so you guys can have a clue as to like what you're going to be learning, making sure you understand the simplicity of it all, because the truth is that we just sometimes don't know what we don't know. So sponsors actually do not just say yes because they know you, right? You have to actually solve a problem that they have. Another way that sponsors say yes, y'all, is that you have influence or you have access to a specific audience. This is where I get my key areas from. One of the things that I love to do is I love to talk to sponsors about my community, Women into Networking Win. If you guys are a part of my community, then you know why. Okay. We build so much value with the things that we do within our community with our members and the things that we are, growing in our education, our learning, the programs, the projects that we've done. We literally have built our own ecosystem for women entrepreneurs. And one of the things that sponsors love is to be part of that ecosystem. Sponsors love to see that they can now get a part of what we've already built. They don't have to do the work. They just have to put the money where their mouth is, right? So we get sponsors that are really just wanting to have access to our audience, especially if, say, for example, you are a brand that is women owned, or you are out here, really making changes for women owned brands. Right now, there are so many brands that are looking at how to empower and how to embrace women leaders. And if you have this already in your repertoire of your company, hey Frankie, welcome, then you can kind of like talk to your sponsors about that. Hey, I have a group of women that are empowered and they're entrepreneurial, and I know that your mission aligns with that. Let's talk about sponsorship. Now, sometimes it's not just that easy for people, because the truth is, like, we know now that sponsors say yes because you solve a problem for them. That's number one. So we're going to go over that in the masterclass. But also, when you have influence and access to a specific audience that they really need to reach, that's another avenue. So if you're building on value to get sponsorships, these are just two areas you can build value on, right? Hey, June, welcome. I'm wondering who is looking for sponsorship, though. That's very curious. I'm very curious. I get so many people that's like, oh man, I want my business to grow. And and some of the areas that I think growth should be focused is where you're getting more people that are aligned with your mission. Because if you get people to sponsor your business, if you get people to sponsor what you're doing, then they also get the benefit and you get the benefit, and you're not working as hard. Okay. So I want to make sure that we're understanding clearly what this means. This means that you're working less. This means that you're not working so hard to get the sale every day. This means that you have a cushion and a pad in your financial gain where you can literally say, hey, I need to secure $30,000 worth of this budget that I know I'm going to, need to secure for the rest of the next 6 months. Let me go ahead and get a sponsor that is going to be able to support me in that, and then give them a reason as to why to support that. Okay. So those are some of the areas. Now, it's not always about money either. Okay. So I want to explain this, because sponsorship really does mean that you are giving people an avenue to support where they benefit as well, right? So if, for example, like one of the last places I visited, I was talking to the venue that we're having the conference in, and I said, what is it that you need right now? And she was like, it'd be great to have sponsors. And I was like, oh, you know what? We're right on time, because we're doing a masterclass on that. And she said, but I really, really don't have time to get them. That was very interesting. You want sponsors, but you don't have time to get them. Why is this not working for me, y'all? There it is. So I want to make sure that we're not being unrealistic about the fact that sponsors are also connected to the brand as well. They want to see that there's a brand that's growing and, just really out there in the world. Like for myself, I personally am the one to always make these phone calls, talk to my sponsors, and then my team may take over, right? But they want to be connected. They want to be connected to the brand as well. But anyway, I'll go with, this is the number one thing we're going to talk about in the masterclass. So yeah, make sure you guys, and if you guys need to go ahead and grab your tickets right now, we are preparing every one of our clients for these holiday sales, and making sure that they are really ready and focused. And while they're doing that, we're also educating them to get ready for the 2026 season, because everyone's going to be boosting up their financial rosters. They're going to be looking at where they're going to start putting their money. And if you are already at the forefront of the mindset of who you want to sponsor you, then you can already be prepared to gain that funding from them. Okay. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there, because you do have to make sure that if you're going to get sponsorship, that you're doing it in a timely fashion, that you're not actually trying to just throw it out there like, I need money today, and you're expecting someone to pay you. No, sponsorship comes from an intentional relationship building process. So number one, why sponsors say yes: you solve a problem. You have influence or access to a specific audience, okay? Your mission aligns with their mission. I mentioned that. If your mission aligns with their mission, it's a no-brainer. Most of the times when I talk to people, they get excited before I even do. Because if their mission aligns with my mission, then they already can see the benefit and the reward in working with my brand, because now they understand, well, we're going in the same direction. So when you're looking at sponsors, whether you're for-profit or nonprofit, you want to make sure that your mission is aligned with theirs, right? It's going to give you some leverage there. Also, if you're organized enough to execute, sponsors say yes. They want to see that you can actually carry through what you say you're going to do. Sometimes I've actually come into, situations where people are like, yeah, I need this sponsorship. And I'm like, okay, go ahead, send me the sponsorship packet. And when I get the sponsorship packet, it's lacking all kinds of information. It's just, giving me, basic numbers and information that's saying, hey, you'll get, your logo, you'll get this, you'll get that, and click this button and pay $1,000. But they have not actually built a relationship with me. So by the time I get that sponsorship packet, I don't feel nurtured enough to say, yes, I'm going to buy this. So it's the same way where other people, where you're looking for sponsorship, where they may not feel aligned with the relationship building process. So if you're not organized, meaning that, hey, you have a actual system where for example, one of my ways of getting great sponsors is by the first thing I do is I make the phone call. I make the phone call to them. I introduce myself. I use a 5-step strategy, and I make sure that they get who I am first. So that way, when we talk about money, they're not like, who is this girl asking me for money? Right? So building the relationship first, that's period. So I wanted to kind of lean on that. So sponsors say yes because they know that they built that relationship with you and you're organized enough to execute. They know that, hey, listen, one of the things that I love to do is I love to plan and put it on paper. I plan and I put it on paper. So that means that I take information that I've researched in the market. I look at that information and I put it down on paper, and I start looking at how that's going to plan out for 30 to 90 days, for 6 months, for a year. What are the action steps I'm going to have to take? How am I going to implement this plan? So that's really, really important to have if you're going to ask for sponsors, because if they don't see that you have a plan of action for how you're going to implement what it is that you're asking money for, it's not it's not building their confidence. They're like, okay, I don't know what you're going to do, but you're not getting my money to do it. So you have to have a very organized plan to execute. That way they know, okay, you're going to execute this plan. I'm confident that I'm going to see results, and whatever happens, but at least I know that there's a plan in place. Okay. So have a plan in place, and we're going to talk about that in the masterclass. Also, another reason why sponsors say yes is that you make it very easy to partner with you. Okay, I've actually created lots of strategies, and we're going to be sharing some templates in I keep saying a workshop. I'm so used to doing workshops, y'all. We're going to be sharing some templates with you guys after the masterclass, but we're going to go through them, and it's just going to give you an idea of how you can script yourself when you're actually, talking to your potential partners, right? So that they understand your message, that you're not like confusing them or giving them one message saying that, hey, I want you to partner with me, but it really sounds like, they need to do all the work. It really does matter how you deliver the message and how easy you make it to partner with you. Sponsors, they do want to spend money to get the value that they are getting wherever that exchange is, as long as it's valuable to them. So making sure that you actually have a process that makes sponsors very, very a very simple process for them to actually come and pay for whatever it is they need to pay for. We're gonna go through that entire step-by-step process in the masterclass. So if you're like, oh my God, like that seems like a lot to do, that's a little overwhelming, then don't worry about it. We're definitely going to be covering these templates and these step-by-steps in the masterclass, so you know exactly how you need to simplify your process of getting more sponsors, okay? So you don't have to worry about that. So you're going to make it easy for them to partner with you. I think also another way that I want to emphasize this, making it easy to partner with you, is be approachable. Like, be the person that is telling people that you want sponsors. You can tell people you want sponsors in so many different avenues, so many different ways, but if you never actually put it out there to tell people, hey, I need sponsorship, I need money, I need funding, then most of the time people will never know to fund you or to look in your direction. So one of the first things that we talk about in this masterclass is why you need the actual funding, so that when you go to the sponsors and you ask them for funding, that the message is so clear as to why you need them to join. And it's done with enthusiasm, not pressure of, oh my God, I'm asking them for money, they're not gonna give me money. Not that, but actual enthusiasm that they're going to want to give you the money or give you the resources because they want to go in the same direction you do, okay? And we already discussed that because that's part of the relationship building part. We're gonna talk more about that in the masterclass, all right? Also, number two, I want to make sure that you know how to ask for money without feeling awkward, okay? Because the first thing I'm going to do is show you how to position yourself and position your business so the sponsor sees value. That's the first thing we're going to do is actually look at that. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to ask for money without feeling awkward, okay? Most business owners hesitate, overthink, and avoid asking. And I'm gonna tell you why. Number one, they don't want to feel like they need something. Most business owners don't ask because they don't want to feel like they need. But we all need. We all need something at some point. And so learning how to ask for what you need when you need it is vital as a business owner. So being able to, you know, get into this place of asking without feeling awkward, you know, you have to understand why it makes you feel awkward, right? Maybe you don't want to feel needy. Another reason that business owners avoid asking is because they don't know what to say. Okay, we're talking about sponsor my business, give me money, I need your support, but also that support is going to align with their business model as well. And when you look at how to ask for money without feeling awkward, right? Don't want to feel needy? Cool. All right. Everybody feels like that at some point in time. I don't want to really feel like I need something, but we all need something. Another reason that we feel awkward is we don't know what to say. If you don't know what to say, then that was why we teach you in the Sponsor My Business Masterclass. That's why we're taking you through this process so that you understand exactly how to say what you need to say to sponsors so it doesn't feel awkward. So it is aligned with the actual goal of the business, right? Which is what we're doing here. We're feeding the business. We're not being selfish. We're not out here trying to do it all on our own, right? We need support from everyone that can support the business, right? And that's what keeps the vision big, okay? Now, another thing I want to talk about is the way to not feel awkward is, well, actually, this is why we feel awkward is, so how do I put this? Sometimes people think that when they ask for money, that is part of who they are. And that's not the case. Money does not equal your self-worth. The amount of money you have does not equal your self-worth, who you are. I mean, it's just money. So a lot of times we feel awkward about asking for money is because we actually attach it to our self-worth, and that is a no-no. So what we're doing is we're actually redefining that, because on December 4th, I'm going to teach you how to detach the emotion from the ask. Okay. So I'm gonna help you detach the emotion from the ask. I'm gonna teach you how to present your request with confidence. Okay. And I'm gonna also teach you how to approach your sponsors the same way corporations approach their investors. Right? None of this is new in the market. None of this is new stuff. This is stuff that we've been doing in the business market for years, but I'm going to teach you guys how to do it, especially now that we're in a market where things are more digital. Things have we have more easy access to certain things now. So for some of us who are afraid of AI or certain technologies, I'm going to teach you guys how to literally use AI tools to do everything from market researching your sponsors, understanding what their mission is to see if your mission is aligned with theirs, so that when you have the conversation with your sponsors, that they already know that they are aligned with you, that they can support what you're doing because they already are going in the same direction you are, and that the benefit of what they're going to get from being aligned with, say, your network, say the people that you're going to connect them to, that is going to be beneficial enough for them to make the exchange where they say, hey, I'm going to give you $10,000 so that you can go ahead and connect me with your network. You can promote me to your network. We can have a beneficial arrangement where for whatever set time frame, right, this is the value that I will receive back. And it's even better if you're a nonprofit. Now, for-profits, y'all can make as much money as you want, and that's for profit. Right? So I would advise get as many sponsorships as you possibly can if you're a for-profit. You're going to need that money to run your business. Nonprofit, I highly suggest doing it as well. But most importantly, knowing that as a nonprofit, you get the benefit majority of the time to get that sponsorship because you're a nonprofit. So for anyone, so this is what I always say. If you say, for example, you want to understand how to ask for money without feeling awkward, and you do have a for-profit because you feel like, okay, well, I'm not a nonprofit, but I do want to ask for money like I am. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to strategize exactly how you can do that. That way you don't feel like you have to explain yourself. Now, being a nonprofit is easy to just, hey, listen, whatever you donate, whatever you sponsor here, we're going to be able to give you something so that if the tax time comes, you can write it all off. It's 100% tax deductible. Now, that benefit is adding way more value than, a for-profit, whereas a for-profit will say, hey, I can benefit you through this avenue, promotions, support with partnership, a community, right? Whatever that value looks like. So it's a little harder for a for-profit, right? But the best part is if you have strategy, it's so much easier because you understand exactly who you need to speak to and how that mission aligns with your business. Okay. So we're going to definitely go through all of that. If you guys are ready to go dive in, I would say go to the link in my bio and go ahead and click that so you can get into the masterclass. That masterclass is right now, if you look at it, I think there's like a 2-for-1 on the VIP side. But I want you guys to make sure that you dive into this, especially while we're in the holiday season, while you have this time. And know it's a busy time, but it's also a time of really renewing and getting ready for the new year. And so outside of getting ready for the holiday sales, outside of getting ready for, all of the holidays period, because I know there's birthdays and anniversaries and weddings and things that are happening all around this time of the year. Regardless of what's happening, still we have to focus on positioning ourselves for 2026. So if you are struggling around holiday sales, definitely DM me because we can support you in that area as well. But my focus today is talking about how we can get you sponsorships, get you people that will actually want to put money in your pocket because the mission that you have aligns with their brand and that they can benefit from the sponsorship just as much as you can. Okay. And the part that I was ending on is just how to ask for money without feeling awkward. So that was really good. And we're going to be talking about how to approach sponsors the same way corporations approach their investors, with that clarity, right? With structure and with confidence, because we know that we can't get, we can't get a blessing from a messing. I don't know where that came from, but that was there. Okay, so that was number 2. All right, I just wanted to share a few key points because, guys, we're going to be walking into this masterclass soon, and I don't want y'all to say I didn't tell you so. Okay. So number 3, what to include in a simple sponsorship pitch. Okay, so we talked about the ways to really start looking at why sponsors say yes. We started looking at, the fact that, we actually have to ask for buddy, but not feel uncomfortable asking for it. So that was an area that we covered as well. And now we're going to cover what to include in a simple sponsorship pitch, which this is interesting enough. Most times when people ask me about sponsorship, they go straight to the pitch deck. And I want to kind of, we're going to work through a pitch deck in this masterclass. So for those of you who do not have one, you definitely need to join the masterclass because we will be building your pitch decks inside of the masterclass. That way you know exactly how you need to present to people who want to give you money, right? But before you even get to a pitch deck, you have to brainstorm the actual why behind what you're asking for. Why are you asking for money? And then being able to translate that into, the grand scheme of it all, right? So having a sponsorship pitch is not writing a 10-page proposal, okay? That's not what we're talking about. That's not what we're talking about, okay? And you know what? I'm really bad at this, guys. If y'all pop in here and I don't say hi or I don't share out to y'all, just know I still love y'all. But I'm mainly focused on getting this recorded because a lot of this content that I'm doing, even live here on TikTok, is also being shared with my community on Facebook. It's also being shared in the marketing funnel over time. So because the masterclass is December 4th, I'm just here making sure that we give you guys as much information, hey sis, as possible to make sure that things are clear, right? The master classes that we have are just very interactive because if you think about it, there's a lot of times that you get into a workshop or you get into master class and you get a lot of information, okay? But the information itself is not what pushes you to do action. What pushes you to take action is when you usually get to a point where you have enough to go off of to say, oh, I can do it, right? It's one thing to believe it. It's another thing to have faith, right? Believing it is like, okay, cool. I believe I can. But to have faith is like, oh, I'm going to do it. And this is what we do in our masterclass. We actually physically create the sponsorship pitch. And this is something that it's not, like I said, it's not a 10-page proposal. Okay. Hey, Ashley, are you looking for sponsors, sis? Because we're having a masterclass. And you don't have to be a nonprofit. You can be a for-profit. That's what we do. We go on both sides. And when you do this part of getting a pitch together for sponsors, you got to have these areas, right? And this is the simplest, most powerful pitch where you have these, the who, the what, the when. You have who you are. The why, the who, the what, the why. So remember those 3 key areas. So the who you are. So you always have to let sponsors know who you actually are. A lot of times we'll go right into this is why I need money. Can you help me? And sometimes the relationship building part is so missed. So even whether it's in a presentation, whether it's in a phone call, whether it's in a one-on-one, you always want to start with who you actually are. Hi, I'm Alexa. I am the owner of AJ CEO Business Coaching Group. I also am the owner of Women into Networking Win, which is a business networking group that is nonprofit. Now, a lot of times when I do a simple who I am, I pause and I allow people to absorb that. I used to talk to sponsors back in the day, and I used to go straight through the whole pitch. Like I used to be like, hi, my name is Alexa Jackson. Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, and this is what I'm doing. And da-da-da. So are you interested? And they would be like, what? Like, I didn't catch that. So I started to learn how to pause. So if you're talking to sponsors, right, you have to have a pitch that's simple enough that you can tweak and change as you go. If you start with who you are, that you know how to talk about who you are, and you pause, give them time to respond. Also, pick up the next part of what you say to them, which is what you do, right? So a lot of times when I pause with who I am, they'll go, oh, okay, nice to meet you. You know, they'll respond with something simple like that. And then I respond by saying, oh yeah, nice to meet you too. Or yeah, thank you. And then I would tell them what I'm doing is I'm calling because we are looking for boom, 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 right? Or what I do is I am a business coach, I am a marketing strategist, and I serve women entrepreneurs in my community with resources that will support their growth, their education, their learning, and also be more inclusive in community, right? So not only did I just tell them who I was, but I told them like more about what I do, not necessarily my business itself, right? So when I go through these simple steps, and this is something that we're going to practice in the masterclass, y'all. Practicing this in the masterclass. So if you don't have a pitch, you want to get into a space where you can practice your pitch. And that's exactly what we're going to do, because if you look at, you know, the fact that there are people getting sponsorships left and right all the time, like they're just making money and they're not working so hard to get a sale every day, right? Because they are partnerships that are funding them and they're able to operate and do what they love. So I want you guys to do the same. So having this pitch identity will allow you to do that. Tell them who you are, tell them what you do, and then tell them who you serve, right? So that's simple. I just said that. And then also tell them what you're asking for. So, you know, hey, I'm Allegra Jackson. I'm the owner of AJCO Business Coaching Group, also Women into Networking Win. You know, what I do is I serve women entrepreneurs and I make sure they have safe spaces to learn and educate and grow. And what I'm asking for is I'm asking for $10,000 from sponsors who are also looking to support that mission as well. The fifth point was what they get in return. So in return, we're offering, you know, promotional efforts for the entire year. We're giving you guys access to all of our events and our conference. We're boom, 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 right? We're telling them all these things. And then the last part is why it aligns with their goals, right? We saw in your mission that you actually have it where you support women entrepreneurs too. We thought this would be a lovely benefit for us to come together and for us to join in forces. That was it. That is the short and sweet of it. That was not a 10-page proposal. That was not a pitch deck. That wasn't all of that, right? It was just a simple conversation that can be had over the phone. And so I do want to go through that with you guys. And also I do have a special part of the masterclass where I will be taking you guys through an actual role play. So I will be selecting some people where we can do the role play, so that if I was an actual sponsor, that we could practice, okay, what that actually looks like to talk to a sponsor about your business. And also for some lucky winners, okay, that actually sign up for the masterclass, I'll be working with you one-on-one for 30 days if you win, because I will be offering some prizes in the masterclass. And if you win, I'll be working with you for 30 days to make sure that you get your sponsorships. That means that we'll be making phone calls together and we'll be doing all the good stuff. So that's that. And I want to make sure that, you know, you get real examples of pitches that actually work. I want to, you know, customize it, you know, whether you're a nonprofit, speaker, planning an event, selling products, right? We're going to get some money in the door so that after this holiday season, you no longer have to work so hard in your business, okay? I want you to also look at how to use your story, your impact, and your audience to attract, because honestly, this is really going to influence your sponsors more than anything. I love the fact that when I go to my sponsors and I tell them about why I built what I built, their eyes light up. When I tell sponsors my journey, my actual story about why I have a group of women entrepreneurs that I support called WIN, why I became the founder of that community, because of the needs that I had for myself and my own business. How I'm growing that community into a place where it's safe for all women entrepreneurs to eventually grow into, right? When I talk to sponsors and I send that message to them, that right there, that is the story that impacts and attracts their support. What story do you have that attracts the sponsor's support? So we're actually going to dig deeper into that in the masterclass, because sponsorship is not just about numbers. It's the narrative, it's the impact, it's influence. It's really just getting yourself in a place where people really see how they can connect with what your story is and what you're doing. I'm going to teach you how to use your personal story in a professional way. Okay, so we're not going to be just telling it. We're going to actually dissect that story and put it into position. Okay. We also are going to show the impact your business creates. So that's really important. In the masterclass, we're going to go over what that looks like for a lot of you, because sometimes we don't even realize the impact that our business is making. Like, we know we have a business and we know how great it is for us, but we don't know the impact it's making. And you never will know the full impact that your business makes, or the full impact that you make, when you show up every day. Like, there are so many people out there that gets their life changed just by watching you, just by being around you, just by seeing something that you do. Someone has had their life changed by that in a good way. But you will never know that. And so sometimes we have to just kind of look at the impact that we're making. So we're going to do that and see what impact your business creates. I'm going to teach you how to present your audience as a valuable community, because if you don't know how to leverage your audience to show your sponsors that I have a valuable community, these are not just numbers, these are not just people sitting on my Instagram and my Facebook, these are not just people sitting in my emails, these are not just people just sitting around, these are actual active users that I'm involved with, that I want to show your brand to. Okay, leverage your community. I'm going to teach you how to do that, and I'm going to demonstrate why supporting makes sense, because it makes sense. It makes sense. And if it don't make sense, it don't make dollars. What they say, right? So anyway, I want to just go in this really quickly by just talking about the way the sponsors actually see you, right? Because your story, you're going to talk about that. We're going to go through that. Your impact and your audience. When you combine all three of these, sponsors don't just see you as a business anymore. They literally see the alignment, the opportunity, and the partnership that they can have with you. And so if you're tired of bootstrapping, if you're tired of paying for everything out of pocket, and you're ready to just learn how to confidently ask for support, then December 4th at 7 p.m. we are going to be in the room, and you need to be there, okay? I want you to actually drop the word sponsor in the chat, because this is going to be reposted in our, well, I'll repost it here on TikTok as well, but we'll repost it in our Business Mastery membership. But we went over some really key areas that I want you guys to think about. And in this season, if a lot of people have ended their fiscal, year, but they're looking into 2026 and they're looking at how they're going to spend their new budgets. These companies, they need to spend money and put it in places where they can actually benefit in their own business. And you are a benefit to someone's business. But we literally have to see where that benefit is. And we're going to do that in the workshop. So yeah, so drop the word sponsor in the chat, and then you'll be sent a link to join the workshop. For anyone who is listening to this live stream, whether live or on the replay, and you drop that link, I'm going to give you a special discount to join the workshop. Okay, so don't miss out on the opportunity, because my workshops normally run about between $50 and $80 a workshop. You guys get this workshop 50% off, this Black Friday early special thing that's going on. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the juice. All right, so make sure you DM me if you have any questions. Thank y'all for watching. I will see y'all on the next live. I know I haven't been here on Mondays, okay, but I will tell you this. Mindset Monday is back on Monday. Okay, so if you didn't tune in for the previous Mindset Mondays, we're going to dig into Mindset Mondays again, but I'm coming back with my new partners. I had to stop for a moment because I had so many things happening on the back end. I have 2 new partners. Shout out to, you probably see Miracle Moments on here. Shout out to Nisa. Baby girl is getting it, okay? She's one of my new partners. So if you come to AJCEO Business Coaching Group, you won't just get coaching, right? You won't just get marketing support. You will also be able to get tangible support in your business so that you can get business cards, flyers, not just actual graphic designs. I'm talking about like, we're going to deliver them things to you, okay? But before we get that to you, the way that we curate it is that we actually coach you through this, so you're not lost in like, okay, well, how do I need to make this look? What does my design look like? How does my brand match the materials that I'm creating? We go through all that with you, okay? So we're just building up our team. Ajane is our finance guru. She's going to be talking to you guys all about financial everything, budgeting, credit, getting your finances together. One of the biggest pain points, and I'll end with this, y'all, because seriously, I could go forever. But one of the biggest pain points that I've learned in business for myself and other people is that if you don't know your finances, if you don't handle your finances well, a lot of times it will impede on your business success. Not to say that you don't have a great business, but you could be spending more money and wasting more money because you don't have a handle on the finances. So Ajane is the guru that is going to be coming into our programs to support you with all of the financing needs, meaning that if you need a budget spreadsheet, she's going to make sure you have that available to you. If you need to be guided through your financial planning, she's going to be able to do that with you, which includes her financial forecasting. You don't necessarily have to have a financial plan in place to do financial planning. Sometimes you need to start from where you are, forecast how much it's going to cost your business, and then write that down so that you know how much money to ask your sponsors for, okay? That's really, really, really important. So I just wanted to, you know, kind of like dive into that as well. And make sure I got everything. Yeah, and I'm also creating, I wish you guys could see, okay, so I'm going to show you guys one of these, I'm going to show you one of the letters that I wrote for sponsorship. And what's interesting is that this sponsorship letter that I wrote to Penmark. So Penmark, so I know, okay, so this is where I leave y'all with too, because I personally had to look at what kind of sponsors I needed before I reached out to sponsors, which is something we're going to cover in the masterclass, but I wanted to give you guys a little more juice before I got off. The actual type of sponsors that I needed, I had to know what that was first, which means that, like, for example, I have a conference coming up next year, Women Empowering Generations. If you guys have not gotten your tickets, get your tickets now. We're going to be sold out by December. This conference is something that I think is amazing because people are reaching out on Eventbrite saying, you know, hey, I want to be a part of this. Never had that before. And so I'm really excited because the market is excited about it. And I'm being very intentional about what's going to go in our goodie bags. So we have bougie bags at the conference, and these bougie bags are basically all the bags that the attendees are going to be getting. Now, I could say, hey, I'm going to use money from the conference so that I can, you know, get all this stuff for the bougie bags. Or I could just get sponsors. I could just get a whole bunch of sponsors for the bougie bags at the conference. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So I went ahead and I started writing letters and making phone calls to all of the different sponsors that I chose that I wanted to be in the bougie bags. That's just one idea and one way you guys can think about, hey, how do I curate my message to my sponsors so they understand what I'm doing with their stuff? And the letter that I sent to these sponsors, like I sent the letter to Uno, Pinmar, Spanx, like I sent the letter to as many organizations as I could, honestly. And I'm still in the process of that. But I will say this, finding the right sponsors and then maximizing on the amount of people you send it to is going to save you a lot of headache. All right. So if you guys want to dive deeper, join me in the masterclass. I'll see y'all there. Y'all have a great day and a great week.